With the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 this year, a lot has been said about what the selection of launch titles for a new system should look like. How many games should be available? Should a racing game be your flagship launch title? In 1990, when the Super Nintendo Entertainment System launched in Japan, there was only 2 launch titles, Super Mario World, which came with the console, and F-Zero, and god damn it, that's the way we liked it back then. The non-Mario launch title was met with critical acclaim and commercial success, effectively setting the bar for racing games moving forward and pioneering the genre of futuristic racers. Nowadays, the franchise is perhaps best known as the origin for oft-memed Super Smash Bros. Fighter Captain Falcon. The franchise's involvement in the smash hit Party Fighter game, as well as its appearance in the most popular Mario Kart game of all time, has also put a spotlight on the racing series' high-octane soundtrack, composed almost entirely by Yumiko Kanki. It sure would be something if Cover Me could celebrate the works of a female composer in video games for once, but wouldn't you know it, one of the 2 songs Kanki didn't compose is the one that fits in with our dumb theme this month. Kanki undoubtedly set the tone for the F-Zero franchise musically and is responsible for iconic tracks like Mute City. But we're focusing instead on the singular contribution of Naoto Ishida, a sound engineer who joined Nintendo in 1988 to work on the Super Nintendo and Satellaview. Ishida's one track has been with the series for almost every installment, but perhaps gained its widest exposure in Super Smash Bros. Melee, where the song made its Smash debut alongside the F-Zero course of the same name. Most recently, the song has appeared in 2023's F-Zero 99, a battle royale reimagining of the original Super Nintendo title. And while it seems unlikely the F-Zero franchise will ever see a new title, it is more than likely that metalheads the world over will continue to cover this shred-worthy track for years to come. That's right, we're talking Naoto Ishida's F-Zero track, Big Blue, on Cover Me. That's right, it's Cover Me, the only podcast that compares famous video game songs to their many cover versions to find out which one will show me your moves. I'm your host, as always, The Snake, joined by my big co-host,
Alex Mildenberger. Large and my voice is deep because things are slow.
Yeah, you get slower the larger you get. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm so fucking stupid. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Just, excited to be blue this December.
Yeah. You know what? We're bluing it all. We're bluing it right. It's big. It's blue. It's beautiful. Everything's blue, except it's probably more... Is it white there in Calgary? You guys got a bunch of snow yet?
Yeah, we got a bunch of snow. It's been snowing. It's been chilly. Yeah. Our windows are all foggy and wet this morning because it's cold.
And is one of your windows still plywood?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
In theory, we should be getting that window, according to their timeline, within the next week or 2.
Yeah, I would say... I'm betting you don't get it till the new year.
I don't know what sort of temperatures they can work in, so it's very possible that we will just need to wait for it to warm up or something.
Phenomenal.
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it, and I might have mentioned this, the window people did send some guys, and they put a big slab of insulation on our
beautiful
in front of it, so that it's not freezing all the time in our room, which is appreciated.
Yeah, so you're less in a Dickensian nightmare and more just just a busted window.
Yeah, just a regular nightmare.
Just a regular nightmare.
No, it's a lot better with the insulation because it was getting really cold in there and it hadn't even gotten very cold outside yet. So, it's nice to have.
Excellent, Alex. I'm glad that the bare minimum is being done.
Yes, we are technically surviving.
Yes, fantastic. Mm-hmm. In the future, though, you won't have to worry about things like windows, though, because we're going to have cars that go 1,000 kilometers an hour.
1,000 kilometers per hour, and they fly.
Thanks to the powers of the G diffuser, and they explode
the
frequently.
G diffuser, right?
The G diffuser, of course, also in Star Fox.
Yeah. But so there was supposedly going to be an F-Zero game for the Virtual Boy, but it was going to be called G-Zero, I think. But I don't know if that's how real that is.
I believe anything you tell me about the Virtual Boy.
About the Virtual Boy. Yeah, Virtual Boy, everything about the Virtual Boy is true. The Virtual Boy invaded Pakistan 3 years ago.
I've heard that. Because it did so poorly, it's become kind of a militant revolutionary or reactionary.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, both. Why not?
Why not? It kind of created an outer haven. Oddly enough, the Virtual Boy is the closest thing we have to Naked Snake.
To a big boss. It's true. It's true. It's all true.
It's all true.
Every bit of it. It's the virtual mission.
Yeah. The Virtua mission.
Yeah.
A Virtua Fighter. Folks,
exactly.
if you can't tell from all these video game references, we're talking about video games
today.
Talking about a fairly big series, sort of a legacy series at this point. I truly don't believe we'll ever see a new F-Zero game.
I think we will, only because not necessarily soon, but it really does seem like everything comes back eventually.
Everything dies, baby. That's so
exactly. Everything that dies will someday come back.
And
as long as we are in this current media era of everything comes back eventually, it will eventually come back. I do believe that.
Right.
But it might take 20 years,
Yeah, I think
where are we going to be in 20 years? I don't know.
Maybe in my lifetime it might come back. It's going to be at the later end of this 20-year gap here.
Yeah, right now, no, they're not doing anything with it, right? It's very clear. They're like, well, we did a Mario Kart. What else do you want from us?
And a Kirby Air Riders, which only came to be because Masahiro Sakurai championed it, because he goes hard not only for Kirby in general, that's his boy, but for some reason Kirby Air Ride is really close to his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried that?
I want to so bad, but
because I haven't got a Switch 2 yet.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. I had
that.
friends with it. We were talking about the social aspect of gaming before we jumped on, but I think a game like Kirby Air Riders, I need some friendship involved to really get that going, get the most out of it.
That would be excellent. But F-Zero, and that's the thing. Do you have a history with F-Zero?
My history is probably the history of most people.
Right.
In that I played Super Smash Bros. When I was young. I was like, who's this fucking guy?
Captain Falcon guy? And then you watch Saturday morning cartoons and there's an F-Zero cartoon.
They make an F-Zero cartoon.
Oh, he's from this.
No, I think I had known that he was from a franchise before that. I never watched the F-Zero anime.
Yeah, I didn't either. I just saw ads. It was on at 11 or something, and I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons that late.
Oh,
we had to get up and do stuff in the day.
Late in the morning. Just
exactly.
So people are aware.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Yeah.
Because F-Zero does have the sort of 90s futurist vibe of and it's weird because we're going to hear covers today that get into jazz, but there is almost a Cowboy Bebop vibe to some of this universe.
Okay, how would you define that?
Okay, we got humans in the future.
Right.
We got kind of crunchy technology.
Right.
Things with levers and handles and futuristic. Yeah. There's a lot in Cowboy Bebop about the love of their each individual character seems to have their own solo piloted machine. And there is a lot of just scenes of mechanic work or them just handling that. There's a lot of person being in tune with their machine. And I think in F-Zero, where these cars are going at 1,000 kilometers an hour, that's kind of just implicitly part of that. Naturally, I'm dealing with a Super Nintendo title here, which doesn't have a lot of story and context behind it.
It's not there, but it's kind of there, right?
It's in the instruction manual, basically.
Okay, it's in the instruction manual, but I do think it's a bit there in gameplay. Now, I haven't played it very much either. I've played it a little bit. I played F-Zero X more than anything because I had it on the Wii Virtual Console.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Never been very good at it.
Yes.
But I do like that the individualism, everyone has their own machine, that's true, right? You pick your racer and they all have their own cool, different looking, primarily single colored car, flying car.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that where it's individualized like that. So you're taking a car for your stats, but you're also taking a character and you can kind of identify with that to a degree. And then you have a speed acceleration adjustment. right? Which does give it that feel of like tinkering, kind of like you're not obviously doing mechanic work, but you're kind of tuning your vehicle.
Yeah.
So like you get to pick that stat. So it is it does have that aspect to it.
It is interesting because like a Mario Kart racer will have you be like, well, this car does this stat. This character has this stat. Where F-Zero is like, okay, you pick this guy, and you have these stats within like a flexible range. You can edit it, to emphasize acceleration or top speed. What I really like, I played every single F-Zero title that's available on the Switch Virtual Consoles, which is
the first two, basically.
And the GameCube one.
Oh no, the Game Boy Advance one. Right, because you have Switch 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So I played F-Zero, F-Zero X, and F-Zero GX.
Right.
Which is the GameCube one. The last sort of like mainline one, although there are like, some for the Game Boy Advance, which I'm not sure if those are on the Virtual Console there or not.
They might be. One of them was an ambassador game. If you
yeah, that's right. I do have one on my 3DS. What the fuck was I going to say? But the gameplay of it, it's very interesting to see it evolve because F-Zero X is, I really think, where the franchise comes. It's one that comes out for the Super Nintendo, comes out at the start of the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it's one of 2 launch titles, which is like so wild.
Which is insane. But like Super Mario World is like a fucking top tier launch title.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot to do in that game.
F-Zero is a lot more like experimental in terms of like, look, you can race with like the background rotating underneath you.
Yeah, mode 7.
Yeah, mode 7. Ooh.
Oh my god. And a very simple concept that it's like your car can get damaged and explode. Like you can lose a race by just driving poorly enough that you're hitting walls.
Which is not even that unusual. Like there are NES games that have like similar ideas that I've played. They're a lot simpler than F-Zero for sure, and they don't have the presentation. But anyway, I'm sidetracking you.
For sure. So, but then where things really come into focus, I think both for the soundtrack and the gameplay is in F-Zero X.
Yeah.
We get some like hard rock coming through on the soundtrack. I think we're going to talk about the instrumentals on Big Blue here, the original, but it demands to be played on guitar. Like it truly does. And
it definitely has the feel
in F-Zero X.
It's got a rockin' feel.
It's got a rockin' feel.
I mean, the other thing about X is it feels fast. Like in the original, you have there's speed to it, obviously, but like you can't see as far ahead of you, and that limits like how fast you feel like you're going. And even though like the numbers are like, look how fast you're going, it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah,
right?
The maps are less detailed, and while there is a sense of speed, you especially feel it in the cornering on the original. It's not quite. We're playing at the start of the Super Nintendo's like hardware. So it's just different. But yeah, F-Zero X, visually, we get a better idea of what's going on. And then we add in what I think is probably the core concept, is that your health bar is also your boost bar once we hit F-Zero X.
That's true.
And that, I think, is a really smart gameplay mechanic.
Because you have to like make a decision of like, do I need to be safe or do I need to go faster?
Yeah, putting the concept of offense and defense into a racing game by way of speed is like... So smart.
Yeah, which is already kind of there to a degree, because like, if you're going faster, you're more likely to crash into a wall.
Sure.
You know, but it just kind of enhances it. Right?
Yeah, it heightens the stakes.
Yeah.
Because first time I played it, I was just like, oh, sweet, I got boost, because you like unlock it after the first lap. And it's just like, I was just fucking hammered it, and I was like, oh shit, it's my car's on like red, hit one thing,
explode,
boom, exploded, you're done. They're very hard racing games,
They are. I've never been very good at them. Even like, I've played some Wipeout, which is like similar, but on like PlayStation, you know, similar concept. And yeah, I crash into things a lot. Even what's that Fast RMX we played a little bit, which is also kind of similar in... I don't remember how the health works, but I know you can crash into things, and it's a bit janky because there'll be like a boulder that flies in it.
Yeah, I find a lot of other games will let you crash and then just kind of respawn you.
Just, restart, as opposed to this, where it's like, oh, you exploded? You're out of the rest of the, like... I think you can't continue in like a Grand Prix if you explode.
No,
Is that
you
true?
can retry the race, and even then, I think you get lives in that.
Okay, yeah. That's what it is.
And what else? Yeah, F-Zero, not initially multiplayer, is also a crazy thing about it for a racing game.
And then like the same team later made Super Mario Kart, which is like perpetually like split in half, right?
Yes.
Like the screen, you can only play on half the screen, and then if you want to play two people, the other half of the screen changes from like a map into another
person's screen,
another player. So interesting that like in order to do multiplayer in a similar setup, it was like we have to do it all the time.
Yeah, they're like, we can't like control the screen to have a camera that changes. It just has to be one screen is either one thing or another. Essentially a precursor to the DS in some way.
Kind of. Split in half.
Split in half.
But interesting that it's like totally solo.
Yeah, it's sort of it's not what you expect when you have a racing game, because like one of the primary draw points is like race against your friends.
Exactly. And like having played, enough multiplayer with other people versus solo, it's a lot different when you're playing with other people. It's like tougher because they tend to be smarter than the built-in.
Yeah, I wonder if that's true for F-Zero then, because like that built-in intelligence knows these fucking tracks.
True. I guess with the original one too, I'm not even convinced there is other racers. Like maybe, like I suppose there are, but sometimes it just feels like, wait, did I just pass another person?
There are like, it seems like there's real racers, or because there's 4 playable characters in the original F-Zero, and I feel like you pick one and the other 3 are also in the race, and then there's just kind of like generic guys on the track.
There's just a bunch of other cars that are just there. Okay, that's what it is. And then it just seems like they pop up randomly every once in a while.
It seems odd, but I guess it is to emphasize that your like health bar aspect. Like, here's some random obstacles.
Right,
in the form of
you can like
cars.
hit into them or whatever.
Yeah. But Big Blue, Alex, is this maybe your favorite F-Zero track or just another F-Zero track?
I mean, of the like 2 that I really know, this is probably the one.
Mute City, yeah.
Yeah, this is like the iconic one too. I also thought it was interesting. Well, no, I won't get into that yet. Yeah, it's more iconic. Like the sound of this one is very recognizable. It has some really recognizable parts. And probably one of the first songs I was ever introduced to as like, or through which the concept of like video game, like fan-made video game covers was introduced to me.
Right.
Because this has been covered in many ways for a long time. And I think even like we're going to talk about some covers today, but we're not really going to talk about sort of the like early internet era of covers because they're not as widely available.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I don't even have access to it anymore. I don't remember what it was. Like there's a version of this that's probably a metal cover, like you were saying, that I would have had on like my iPod Nano back in the day.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. Like I used to listen to it.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, the early internet.
Yeah.
But this is definitely one of those tracks that people were like, oh. And I think through Super Smash Bros. Melee, they're like, I would like to play this in real life. And then it does feel like that's what exposed me to like even the idea of video game cover bands and things like that is like, okay, people are playing Big Blue from F-Zero.
They're doing Big Blue from F-Zero, and they're doing like, I don't know, whatever, like Brinstar theme, or like some of those ones, and like songs from Zelda and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. And like, yes, obviously Super Smash Bros. Was probably a huge part of why it spread so much, because Smash Bros. Itself kind of has that, right? Like you listen to the versions of these songs in Super Smash Bros. And they're like these really exciting covers.
Mm-hmm.
But then it sort of influences this like sort of online subculture that grows into what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because it starts out purely on synth. Obviously, it's the Super Nintendo chip we're working with here. And it has this idea, because there's like 2 ideas going on in F-Zero musically. It's like the future, and also rock and roll.
Right.
And you can kind of adjust those dials accordingly. And on the original, it's like obviously the future, synth heavy, but you can hear it in the way that it's like played or I guess sequenced, that like it really like that melody synth really wants to be a shredding guitar.
Yeah, which is interesting because I feel like, well, maybe it wouldn't have sounded that good. The Super Nintendo can do these like samples on its sound chip, and famously, like that was a big part of the effort for like Donkey Kong Country. Was creating a sample library.
Right.
This is maybe early enough that they didn't do as much of that because it was a launch game. This came out in 1990.
Yeah, it was a launch game, and Donkey Kong Country is 1994, so 4 years later.
Yeah,
we get the first Donkey Kong Country.
A lot of time to like learn how to use that sound chip. I also always like, just briefly to touch on the like launch idea. The stories from back then where people were like, "You want us to buy another Nintendo?" Like what? Like they hadn't established the idea of like a successor like console generation back then, so they're like, "What? You want us to buy a whole new Nintendo?" Like,
yeah, the idea that like the hardware could improve was even crazy.
Yeah,
like,
or
we have the games, they beep and they bloop. What the fuck do you want?
Yeah, what else do you want? Just looks fancier, whatever.
Who cares?
Apparently, that was a bit of an uphill battle. Anyway, so what was I saying? Right, so like they could probably do like a guitar sample, but it also might not sound that great because like I'm thinking of the guitar sounds in Donkey Kong Country and like they're fine, but you can tell they're like
so I wonder if their emphasis was more on like futuristic sounding, really focusing on synth sounds, and then it just happened that because I think it must be Yumiko Kanki who does a lot of the other also hard rock sounding tracks on this soundtrack, was big into rock and roll and like heavy metal.
Yeah, there's 3 names that I saw. What was the name you said was the composer?
So the composer for this one is Naoto Ishida. The
Naoto
composer
Ishida,
for almost all of the tracks is Yumiko Kanki, and then there's one other guy who does one other track on this.
Yukio Kaneoka?
Sure.
Anyway, I found 3 because like the credits of this are weird because everyone is either like a producer or staff, and like it doesn't say like music or whatever, or it doesn't credit people directly. So I don't know. Like I found a thing that said Naoto Ishida did this song, but there was no source.
Yeah, I found a source for it on like different wikis and stuff. So, and it is like it's like a known fact that Yumiko Kanki did every track except for 2 of them. And so then, Naoto Ishida did this one, and then one other was done by the other name you found.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there's 3 people, and like I could find them, and I could look up them, and it was like 3 of the people in the credits are considered either like composers, sound designers, sound engineer, whatever. Like those are their jobs. It just doesn't say what they did specifically on this game.
Yeah, and it's 1990, so like video game like development is maybe, especially Nintendo, is maybe a little loose.
That is what I've always heard. They always say like everyone kind of did everything, and like even stories from back then, it's like, well, the president of the company did a little bit of programming for this one.
Yeah, nothing was like siloed, and it was all still kind of experimental, which is why even like N64 era, when we start getting voices, it's like, we hiring voice actors? No, we're just going to get somebody from the office to do it. And that's why one guy from Rare was the voice of Donkey Kong for like a decade.
Yeah, was it Grant Kirkhope?
Yes, I believe it is Grant Kirkhope.
Who also was a composer and did some classic soundtracks.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about... we've talked about his songs. Yeah, we talked about Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, we talked about, Free ZZ Peak.
Yeah.
Another Christmas classic.
A few years ago now.
Yeah, quite some time ago. But we're talking about Big Blue.
We are.
Which in terms of iconic sounds, I think you get that kind of right off the bat. Its intro and sort of staccato like emphasis notes are really what grounds this track and what makes it instantly recognizable. The bow, down out, down out.
Because they're doing the like up and down thing.
Yeah.
And like great for a guitar. And then they add the sort of like between lines like little licks like
yeah,
that's very guitar.
That's the real guitar.
So yeah, it really feels very appropriate on the guitar for sure.
We've got some pretty impactful drums holding things down here too. Right off the bat.
It doesn't. So I broke this song into like 4 different sections, but I think an argument could be made for 3. And I was like, wow, this like really feels like a race. Because like this part almost feels like we're either just we're like at the start line and like maybe starting the race, and like it's that moment at the beginning of the race where it's like, you know, everyone's kind of on it neck and neck more or less, and you know, very exciting at the beginning where it's sort of, you haven't settled into positions yet, it's still very chaotic.
The emphasis on the big beats and then just sort of little licks, whereas when we move into what is probably your second section, things kind of like zone in a little bit, right? And then it gets into like this main melody of the song where maybe there's someone who breaks away, you know, and there's still conflict, but it's like a little more, it's less chaotic of everyone is scrambling for position, and it's more like, oh, there's 2 or 3 front runners. Yeah, and we're seeing some like place changes, some of that, like we're really, if this is filmed, like the first section is kind of broader shots of everybody, and then we're finding out who our story is or who we're focusing on for this race.
Yeah.
And that comes in the second section, which is sort of held down by a synth arpeggio. This
that's kind of that like harmonic part in the background.
Yeah, and then a melody synth really just fucking giving us a melody. It's like and
then that's the part. It feels, it's like much more continuous, right? Like before, then lots of like pauses and like maybe uncertainty, I don't know, and then suddenly now this thing kind of rips out and is like very determined, you know?
And what's perhaps interesting about this versus other video game music we've talked about, and this is what we're going to see 2 years after this comes out, is that for some reason, before this becomes a metalhead classic, it becomes jazz, and that's
very early on,
and that's because this is essentially a solo piece with backing instruments.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe part of that is just you can only have so many sounds going on this early sound hardware.
Maybe, but we've talked about other songs of this era, like Donkey Kong and things of that nature, that don't necessarily have this same setup.
True.
Like it's more of an ambient piece. It's more of like a team collaboration, whereas this is so clearly set up. And weirdly, because it's technically one synth doing everything, it's set up to have a lead instrument and things just filling the space behind it.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder how much of that is just Donkey Kong is sort of its own thing sonically compared to other stuff on the Super Nintendo.
Sure, but
this is also pretty simple and singular. That is, like, the more I think about it, the more like it does make sense. And that was one thing I was questioning, because like we've been describing this as like, oh, it kind of follows like the curve of like a race and like how a race maybe works. But it also, I think, could be said it follows like the story of what an exciting race story is. So that how much of it is they're making it sound like a race, and how much of it is like they're using a fairly standard interest curve that happens to follow how we tell stories. You know, like you have your like intro and then your rising action and then kind of your climate, you know, like
sure,
that's how we just maybe compose music, but it fits really well. And like you said, the fact that like there's this solo aspect to it, one lets you do a bunch of jazz solos to it, but also maybe makes a lot of sense as like a one-on-one or single winner race thing where, you know, it's a single person.
Yeah, so it really fits in the context. But I do still think it's unusual, because even thinking of the works of like Koji Kondo, who does a lot of Nintendo games, he really emphasizes like one really solid loop that can play like a billion times, right? Famously, he's like, yo, I listen to my music just on loop to see if it gets grating. Whereas this song is like, what if there's 3 solos that we stitch together, like 3 to 4 solos, and then that loops? And it's like, that's somehow a little braver, a little stranger. It seems a little unorthodox to what I understand for most video game music.
Yeah, I mean, definitely different from what we've been talking about. The stuff that we tend to talk about is maybe less of this, you know? And I so yeah, it does make sense. And I can't really the more I'm trying to like bide for time and think about it in my head, the more I'm like, yeah, I can't think of something comparable.
Yeah, I'm sure it's done. I mean, certainly in the modern era, like but this does feel very interesting. It feels like an unusual take on video game music for this time.
True, and maybe it was early enough that like we hadn't established some of this yet.
Yeah, so we're in the experimental era, and then of course, like it's partially that. It's partially like the composers who survived or who we think about and talk about are the ones who established our ideas of this. So we talk about Koji Kondo. He's the monster of the industry. So a lot of what we think, especially of Nintendo music and this era music, is influenced by a dude.
Right. It's all him. Or a lot of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's more.
But I do think it's an interesting structure. So yeah, our first section is this. Yeah, we're riding this melody synth while like an arpeggio in the back, a harmonizer gives us this kind of driving sense, this urgency behind it. We've got a great feel of a race here, folks. We got a race going.
Yeah, we got a race going. And then the sort of C section.
I've heard of those.
Starts about 25 seconds in. I do think the argument could be made it's part of the same section as before, but it does sound different.
I can see, using the knowledge we typically use for this, where it's like, if the noises change enough, that's a new section. Like, I agree. I think that applies, but I do also, part of me still feels it's part of that solo, that first
same solo section. Yeah, just like you're doing a different thing now. It doesn't have to be a new section. It's just like I don't know. It depends on how you think of it, and the covers seem to treat it differently. You know, some of them seem to like, basically, if they change all the instrumentation at this point, then they seem to treat it as a different section.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But this is where they you get these like really fast runs in this.
Yeah, these it's like very like tapping. It's very quick play. It feels like we're pushing this sound chip to its limits in terms of speed of notes.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it, like it is quite fast. And you know, I was watching a few different videos and stuff about it. One of them was commenting about like playing on piano, how it's very fast to do those arpeggios.
Right.
So they had to make sure that they were like really practicing it. And a lot of covers I've heard don't do that, you know, because this does the like diddle diddle diddle, you know, it's like fast. Whereas dun 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 dun, a lot will just play that, you know.
Yeah, they'll just slow it down. They're like, well, I'm not a guitar, so I'm not going to try and like shred that.
Exactly. And it fits some instruments better than others, that's for sure.
That is for sure.
But yeah, this is that section. Is there anything else that happens? I mean, you don't get that twinkly arpeggio anymore, so the other synth is just kind of playing chords.
Yeah. Yeah, as we move in there, so it's that emphasis on the melody synth. The other one's playing chords. And we do like kind of a rise and fall, and then a walking, like a bass walk down is our move into the next
bass transition into that fourth section.
Yeah.
D section, if you will.
I will. D sections.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then, like you said, it's another like solo.
Yeah.
But this one does feel more climactic, right? This is kind of our end of the race. This is our final stretch. And it's got some interesting things going on too, because it's got it's bending notes and like sliding notes.
Yeah.
In ways that hasn't happened up to now.
It's and again, it feels very rock and roll. I can like see a guy playing this on guitar, you know, hopping on one leg as he's bending these notes and shit. Like it's so weird to hear a synth do it like this, because I don't think anybody does this kind of synth work like currently.
I mean, not that I know of, not in like popular music.
Not in like popular music. Maybe some nostalgist is maybe doing it, but
yeah, it's a bit old school.
This is, instead of it being a nostalgia trick, is somebody just trying their damnedest to be like, what does a space guitar sound like?
What is a space guitar sound like? Yeah. Speaking of guitar in space, it does seem to me like there's a sort of change in the space between notes as we go through the sections. Let me tell you what that means.
Tell me what that means.
So the first section, there's kind of pauses, right? Dun, dun, dun,
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. And then the second section, it's more continuous. Dun,
Yes.
dun, 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 dun. It's more standard for a melody.
Yeah.
Then the third section starts to get into those really like fast, diddle, 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 you know, like very rapid notes. And then the fourth section like changes notes but takes the break away, so it like or makes them so close together it becomes a smooth curve. You know, like
right.
Does that mean anything? I don't know, but it's kind of a pattern.
Yeah. It is like another way of like sort of intensifying. Things are now like ramming together from being very discreet to now like bending each other. That's like a zoning in. It's like we're being funneled into this song.
True, yeah, and like if you do look at it from that like race storytelling perspective, yeah, the idea of like honing in and becoming like more and more focused as you go makes sense, you know, especially in the like most intense part of the race, which is right at the end when you like could lose it all in an instant, right?
Yeah. And big moments to represent that. Around 50 seconds we get the big climb.
Oh, yes, very rapid like climb up. That is kind of the climax, and then there's sort of like a bit at the end where you get some like bass and drums.
Yeah, that's your like loop point.
Yeah, that's kind of the loop.
Yeah, what a track.
And then it's like a pretty quick loop. It's like about a minute long, right? Yeah, it loops almost exactly 1 minute in. It's like in the 59 to 60 second range that we start to loop, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the requirement, like write me a 60-second piece of music and we'll put it in the game and we'll loop it. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's old school, so like that's the thing to do.
Yeah, and speaking to both like F-Zero and F-Zero X especially, GX seems to have longer tracks. But
right.
The tracks in the first two games fucking rip by. We're talking like maybe 2 minutes to clock it.
Yeah. I wish I knew more of the songs. More than like the two I know, the two big ones.
I kind of know. I think it's Firefield, which also features pretty heavily in Super Smash Bros. Games. But it's more like hard rock shit. It fucking rules.
Yeah. Also interesting. Flipping through the F-Zero X soundtrack, and we are not talking about that specifically, but it is actually titled "Decide in the Eyes."
Decide in the Eyes.
Yeah, and that is true on this version I found on YouTube, and it is also true on the Nintendo Music app.
Right, which I think it brackets to Big Blue so that you can still find it.
So that you know, what it is. But yeah, I was looking at it, I was like, oh damn, I thought Big Blue was in F-Zero X, and it is. It's just not called Big Blue. It's
interesting because it's in F-Zero X, it's not in F-Zero GX.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting.
The track is, but it's a new, like the race track, but the actual music
song
is not in there.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so F-Zero X, we will just talk about it briefly because it's not something we're covering here. We're not just going to go through every official iteration.
Sure.
But they do introduce guitar without taking away synth entirely. They turn at least one or two sections into a sort of call and response. So like one of those solo sections is now like call on synth, response on guitar.
Which is cool and kind of sets some future expectations, I guess.
It's like it's they're slowly moving it towards being like full on rock and roll, but we never actually really see Nintendo do that, except maybe in like the Super Smash Bros. Series. But it's weird because the direction Nintendo goes into, we're going to talk about right after this short break.
Dun, 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 dun.
We're back talking covers of Big Blue from F-Zero, starting with an official release in 1992, arranged by PeeWee and Michiko Hill for the F-Zero Jazz album.
Yeah, very interesting. Released by, I mean, the artist is shown as Tokuma Japan, aka Tokuma Shoten, which is just like a media company from Japan that puts out. I mean, at the time, like CD, like music and stuff, but apparently they're more like print media, and they did like some of the early English dubs for like Ghibli movies.
Okay, yeah.
Or like they were involved in like some of those contracts. So like they've been around. They just like they're not that well. Like I didn't know the name.
No, and they're maybe
a household name over here.
Yeah, not a household name, but they certainly got their hands in weird places because it's a Japanese production, but recorded in California.
Yeah, with like some kind of like I'll say big name musicians, not that I recognize, not big enough for me to recognize, but big enough that like they have other credits that are recognizable.
Yes, like Wikipedia link recognizable.
Exactly, like they have their own Wikipedia pages, which is cool. You mentioned it was arranged by Michiko and PeeWee Hill. PeeWee Hill, aka Robert Lee Hill.
Yes.
LA a session bass player, and then of course a sound technician, and then his wife Michiko Hill, who is Japanese but is a pianist and actually plays piano on this track.
Yeah. And so also on this we have Mark Russo and Robin Ford playing saxophone and electric guitar, and those two are from the band, a jazz fusion band of some note, Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets, which yeah, I'm not really familiar with the jazz fusion bands.
A jazz fusion of note is like not that noteworthy.
But I will say, Weather Report, the jazz fusion band I do know. Alfonso Johnson plays bass on this track, or at least on this album. Maybe I would just listen to the album and not the track. He was a Weather Report member in the early 70s, not heavy weather era, so not anything I've heard him on, but you know. He's still of note. And then also in the credits are Alex Acuna, a Peruvian-American drummer, and Otmaro Ruiz, who's a Venezuelan pianist / keyboardist who does keyboards on this. And both of those two are also like music educators primarily, or I don't know about primarily, but like they also like teach at universities.
So you get this weird slice of people who had some spare time in 91 and presumably 92.
Yeah.
Who were connected to, I assume Michiko Hill kind of got this and brought it to like her husband and gang, like
because she has like the Japan connection.
She has the Japan connection. Not to be racist, but she's the Tokyo pianist. So like, yeah, I'm feeling like she got this. Had a connection with the company whose name I've forgotten.
Tokuma,
Japan, and brings this here. They record it. It's a full album. I don't know if it's the full soundtrack, but it is 12 tracks. Actually, I think that is the full soundtrack.
Opening theme, Big Blue, Red Canyon, Firefield, Silence, Wayland, Port Town. Select title theme, Mute City, Sand Ocean, Deathwind, ending theme.
And logically, it's a jazz album.
It is. It is a jazz arrangement album, according to
Which seems crazy at first, but then, this is pretty good fucking... They put a nice little swing on the big beats at the start here. They
do, and it's like huge too, because they've got these like big synths, and they have a sax at this point?
No, at the start, no.
Yeah, so they change it up a bit. Kind of loses a bit of the intensity, you know? It doesn't have that same like waiting feeling of like
yeah. We're taking that out, replacing it with sort of the like Euro / just like ritzier side of like F1 racing.
Oh,
there's a bit of
little bit
class
of
behind it.
Actually, does make me think of like it's lower intensity than this, but like some of the soundtrack of on the N64 a Nagano Winter Olympics game. I don't know if you ever played that at my house.
No, I didn't.
But we got it like used at a Rogers Video back in the day without an instruction book, so we had no idea how to play it. It kind of reminds me of the music in there. That's just it's like elevator music, the kind of thing you'd hear like in maybe a golf game or something like that.
Yeah.
This is kind of F-Zero crossed with that.
Yeah, sort of. Also, you would get it in like Gran Turismo will have like jazz in its menu screens.
Yeah.
So it's taking it out of that like that rough future world and bringing it into like the modern conception of like high class racing sports / games in that sort of softer genre. Games for your dad.
For your dad, yeah. Sort of like car simulator things.
Yeah, more simulator end. And that's what we're getting here. And it's still got some good like juice to it. It's still got some energy.
It's got some. It's got some. It moves.
But yeah, we're lacking that fucking throttle pedal to the metal intensity.
Yeah, I think so too. But like that's fine. It doesn't all have to be that.
I think there is enough going on to sustain this track.
Especially once you get into like the B section, because like there's that beginning and like bum, ba-da, and that's nice. It starts to introduce the saxophone, but then like B section is like all saxophone.
Yeah, saxophone replacing that melody synth, and then like hand drumming replacing that arpeggio synth.
Yeah, and there's even like some piano in there. They're just kind of holding down the harmony, or it is just kind of holding down the harmony. But yeah, like you said, hand drumming's moving. There's lots of like it, like the kit drums are playing. It's kind of like the jazz beat.
Yeah, hitting some like open hi-hats.
But like fast enough, you know?
Yeah, nothing's ever going to distract you from that sax that's playing, but we are going to fill out as much space as possible and keep this track alive. There's a bit of bass in there too, definitely a stand-up bass, I think.
Yeah, I think
doing some like
kind of
semi-walking. Actually,
I'm not sure.
You know what? Listen to it now. No, that's
track.
an electric bass. Yeah, other tracks. This isn't the last time we're going to see jazz.
Yeah,
and
definitely not.
But this one does it with an electric bass because it's jazz fusion.
Yeah, it is. I would also say that this one seems like it's treating the B and C sections kind of as the same.
Yeah, it treats it like one solo, which I agree with. I think I agree with that take. It
sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the first time I was like, maybe it is just one section.
Yeah.
It kind of is. But it doesn't always get treated that way.
No, and I think that's also fair, but when I conceptualize it, I do have B and C together.
It makes more sense, I think, based on like what I know about song structure.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do another section that is distinct? I don't know. I don't have words to say why. It's my feelings.
Mm-hmm. It's your feelings, and they're valid, Alex. That fucking sax rides us down until we return to the A section, that intro beat, that bounce.
Yeah, because it plays the D section as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it goes through all of it, basically.
It does. It goes through everything, and then like loops around into the intro, and then like it gets into like a real solo.
Yeah, so it noodles a bit in the A section, and then about 5:37 we blast off into Solo Town.
Jazz solo.
Fucking jazz solo. And buddy, it's a jazz solo.
Some good fast runs in there, which is kind of similar to the original. So like it keeps in that sound. It works well enough. Maybe it's just my own like sensibilities not totally gelling with jazz fusion, but sometimes it seems a little aimless or ill-fitting. But it's good enough.
Yeah, I
think actually this solo is fine. There's a piano solo later on that I don't think is great.
Okay, I did think this one was all right, and I like that it leads into this very cool doubling section at the 6:15 mark.
Oh yes, so it's a D section basically, but it's like the saxophone and the synth playing that melody together.
Yeah. And boy, that synth has like a fucking strange tone on it.
Yeah, almost like steel drum like.
Yeah.
But like with maybe a little of a whistle sound too. Like a whistling steel drum.
Yeah, it's that area of synth where it's like real instruments, but it's taking the liberty to also be like no other instruments.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And then they do their together. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that is nice. That's kind of the climax part, very exciting part, and it goes on for a while.
Yeah, they really dragged that one out a bit.
30 odd seconds of that.
Yeah.
And then is when it falls into the piano solo, which I feel like shows skill at playing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of this piano solo. It feels a bit disconnected to me.
Yeah, it almost feels obligatory to jazz, but maybe not to the structure of this song, to Big Blue.
Yeah, I just don't think it really maintains the same energy. It kind of like, I feel like you can change the sound a fair amount if you maintain the energy sometimes, but this kind of doesn't do either. Like, it changes the sound. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it belongs in this song, except for maybe some of the faster runs, but I don't know.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're doing a solo like this, where you're referencing an original piece of music, if you're either going to, like you kind of said, maintain the energy or maintain sort of the sonic signature.
Yeah. So
have a little bit of that, and like use that as sort of like a riffing point for the like keys or something. So like play around with that, or like go crazy, but because you're keeping up the energy of this high impact song, and it does neither of those things. So it just feels like we're kind of taking a break because the pianist gets to have a solo.
Like, well, we got to give them however many bars, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's only fair. And like, that's jazz, sure, fair enough, but I do feel like this solo is a little bit on the unsuccessful side.
Yeah, but we bring it back into the intro.
Yep.
And then I noted bonus percussion around 7:35.
Ooh, bonus percussion. I mean, for the most part, they're just going through another loop, right?
Yeah, this is essentially just another loop.
But yeah, there's like a bit with a little more percussion.
Yeah. And then
is it like so percussion on its own, like isolated, or just
it just seems like it's a little louder.
Oh, I see.
And they do a big like a quote unquote big rock finish on this. They just
to finish it.
To finish it, yeah, big move. Feels jazzy.
Yeah. So I thought it was like pretty decent overall. But at times, maybe just that solo killed it a bit for me. I said it a bit inspired at times, but I do feel like it's just sort of a weak piano solo.
Yeah, I can see that. And I kind of forgot it was there. I mostly remembered the sax on this and just the big stings and stuff. But I think it does show that a song I consider to just be hard rock, this is kind of proof of concept that it is in some ways a jazz piece by way of solos.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But is it also perhaps, as we'll see in 2014, a banjo piece?
Is it a banjo song?
With
the answer?
BG Ollie?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. Of course, now we're jumping from like 90, what'd you say,
92
to 2014. So good, over 20 years. And this is sort of the time period where you would get, like, in between there is where you would get the most of these, like, smaller, like, message board sort of covers from, like, random artists.
Yeah, where it was just a person, not like somebody being like, I'm going to be a YouTube person who does this.
Yeah,
it was
a lot of hobbyists in a
like,
community.
Yeah, it was just a hobbyist who was like, oh yeah, I've done a cover of Big Blue. Here, you can check it out.
Exactly.
Different time, man.
Yeah, so we're kind of jumping past all that because it's a lot less accessible.
Yeah, it's some of that is probably lost media.
Probably. Or it's like on someone's hard drive somewhere and they've forgotten about it. Possibly my hard drive. I like looked at the music I have, and I don't have a cover of Big Blue on in my like digital music on my computer. So
right. But we do have here on the internet for everyone's posterity, BG Ollie rather. Blowjob Ollie.
Blowjob Ollie. Just kidding. Banjo Guy Ollie.
Yeah, Banjo Guy Ollie. He runs the channel that I never thought I needed, or that you never thought you needed. Is what he says. He likes paintings, games, and outdoor life, and he's married to a woman named Fiona, which I've marked here as being a real Shrek move.
That is a real Shrek move. He also is wearing, it's yellow. I was going to say green in this video, but it's like yellow plaid.
Listen, Shrek could pull that shirt off.
Shrek could pull that shirt off for sure.
No problem.
He could pull the shirt right off this guy and then throw him
easily
into
and scare him.
A swamp of
Yeah.
or a barrel or something, and
Or
then
a
he'd
barrel,
kind of be stuck in the barrel.
Or he might I don't know, give him a wedgie or something.
Yeah,
that's something Shrek could probably do.
Other Shrek moves.
He might crack.
Just fart.
Yeah, he might just
and then
fart.
he'd pass out.
Yeah, there you
that
go.
Kind of thing.
That kind of thing.
Shrek moves.
So this guy's move is pretty classic because we got a video accompanying this, folks, and the video is sort of Ocean's 11 style. There's a lot of different frames and frames.
Split screen.
It's
a split diopter. No, I'm kidding. There's 7 of him. 7 parts. Similar to, we've talked about Smooth McGroove, who does vocal covers, and then he'll do each part with a different video, and similar thing where there'll be maybe footage from the game or something, and then a bunch of shots of the different parts playing. So it's not that uncommon. We've talked about a few covers like this before. It's always nice because you really you can see all the sounds being made, right?
Yeah, it lets you.
I really appreciate it.
At least for our job, it's much easier to know what's being fucking played where. So he is banjo guy, but a lot of the melody on this, the solos, are the mandolin.
Yeah, he sort of trades off. There's one, I think the D section in particular is on the mandolin, but the B and C sections are primarily on the banjo.
Okay.
And then the A section is both kind of together. Because to do the bam, bam, on these softer instruments, you kind of need some extra juice, so they just double up.
Okay, yeah, well, because so the mandolin on that B section is doing the arpeggio while the banjo takes the lead melody.
Yeah, the mandolin does the arpeggio, and we say the mandolin. There's actually 2 mandolin tracks, one acoustic guitar track.
Same mandolin, technically.
Yeah, it's the same. It's just
it's being recorded twice.
And same with the banjo. There's 4 banjo tracks, but it also seems to be the same banjo.
Yeah, and 2 of them are banjo drumming.
Yeah, one is he has a brush, and the other one doesn't do much at all. But there's a whoosh sound that he slides his hand across it to make.
Okay.
That's pretty much all I see that.
Yeah, because I was watching that one to see because you can hear a rhythm on this, like a and it doesn't seem to be connected to any of the instruments really.
Yeah, and I think that might be just that one because
with the brush there.
Yeah, because he's got a brush and he's tapping the top and hitting the brush on the bottom, so that seems to be the rhythm.
That's your rhythm, yeah.
So if anyone's unaware, a banjo is basically a drum that you've put a stick on and stretched strings across. That's how a banjo works. So you can play it like a drum because it literally has a drum built in.
It's part drum.
Yeah. You can do that with an acoustic guitar too, but it doesn't technically have a drum built in.
Yeah. So what is this version, what are the standouts of this version? We've kind of broken down what instruments are playing where, but what sound are we getting here?
The standout, or one of the big notes that I had about this is this C section with its fast playing.
Yeah.
Really good banjo fit, because the banjo fast picking is such a natural banjo thing.
Oh yeah.
That's a very good fit for the banjo.
That is, in fact.
That was my major takeaway from this one. The sound overall is pretty solid. I like these instruments in particular. He doesn't do a lot with it, but it's a pretty solid technical cover.
Yeah, I think there is something to be said here, and it's what I said of the original in some sense, is that the song, especially the melody, really does demand a guitar. And so a banjo and a mandolin are kind of offshoots of guitar. And so it translates to those really well.
Yeah, it's just the version of that has no distortion. And you can tell some of it is a bit thin. Obviously that's the sound of it, but the chords are being played on a mandolin. So everything sounds a bit thin and smaller. And even with some support from the banjos and that acoustic guitar, the sound overall is not this huge full rich sound.
Yeah, we're maybe lacking the impact that this song requires. But we are getting some of the cool technical proficiency. And I think that's nice.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. The one thing we haven't really seen much of in any of the covers, and I don't think it really gets done, is the like slides in the D section.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure none of the covers really do the like kind of sound. Which is interesting. I don't know if there's a real practical way to do that without a synthesizer, but I don't know.
Yeah, they can't fully because he does some slides on this.
I guess he does.
On the mandolin there.
Maybe I just missed it.
You can see it at go to 48 seconds and he does it twice in a row, that ding, but it feels more like it's plucked than it is like slid.
I guess he does slide, but yeah.
It doesn't have that same warping effect that the original has there.
Yeah. And maybe that's just a computer thing.
Yeah, and that's part of, if you run this through an electric guitar, maybe you'd be more likely to get that. But on a mandolin, we're talking about the thinness of sound there. There's not a lot to get picked up there.
That is true. You don't have that same super. Well, I mean, not that it's not a rich sound, but it's not in the same way.
We're in that trebly range. We don't have a lot to modify it or embellish it.
Yeah. Other than that, it loops a couple times, but it's basically the same. I couldn't really find differences between the loops.
Yeah, he just kind of keeps going to it, and that's fair enough.
Yeah, he does a decent enough job, but doesn't do a lot with it.
No, but you know who does do a lot with it is Nintendo in the year 2015.
Nintendo, that's right. We're back to Nintendo. We're back. This is the Mario Kart 8 soundtrack.
That's right. So composers for this game are Shiho Fuji, Atsuko Ashi, Ryo Nagamatsu, and Yasuaki Iwata, and Kenta Nagata. Now, who composed this one? It's arranged by Kenta Nagata. I have that.
Okay. That is the only name I did not write down here.
Okay. Fantastic.
I guess I didn't stumble across that one. So this is, another Nintendo game. In fact, this is made under EAD, Entertainment Analysis Division, which is the same group.
Yes, Entertainment Analysis and Development.
Entertainment Analysis and Development, that's it. The same group that made the original F-Zero game, and then, of course, worked on Super Mario Kart and a bunch of other stuff. They've done a ton of stuff. There's a whole, do you remember, in our teenage life, junior high school,
yes,
how much thought went into but which division of Nintendo worked on this? Because there's 3 or 4 big notable divisions that work on different things, even though there's various teams within those divisions. For some reason it was this is an EAD game, or is R&D 1 is another big one. None of those teams exist in that name anymore, but back then, I don't know if you remember talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. It's I can't say it even concerns me much these days, but I am concerned with sort of the individual composers on this and the arranger on this. So Kenta Nagata, who joined the EAD division in 1996.
Okay.
So he starts with Mario Kart 64 and 1080 snowboarding.
Okay.
He was the sound director for New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. 2, and this game, Mario Kart 8. He's the sound director. The composer on Wind Waker. He worked on Animal Crossing. There's a bunch more that he's done. So
he's got credits, man.
He's kind of a heavy. He's not, he's not your Koji Kondo's, but this guy has been around and he's done some very notable work.
He's done a lot of work. And I think the other thing to note about this game in particular, I do feel like Mario Kart 8 was a bit of a turning point for Nintendo music.
Because
I do feel like the style that they adopted in this really influences where they go afterwards. And, obviously you can see how things moved to this point, but it does feel like this was the big point where people started also talking about Mario Kart soundtracks, because this soundtrack got traction online and stuff. And is known as this cool good thing with all these really great arrangements.
Yeah, so, it's big. It's very well regarded, and it's a reason that on Mario Kart World, where this same band returns. They essentially create like an in-house band called the Mario Kart Band, and then make a bunch of these, like a lot of jazz fusion covers for this game, a lot of just like big orchestral pieces, and then they essentially do that to the extreme for Mario Kart World, where you'll have multiple interpretations of the same track from some point in Mario history. That's done in a different style. It'll be done in like reggae, it'll be done orchestral, it'll be done fucking like hard rock. Like this, so yeah, Mario Kart 8 really fucking like crystallizes their direction for music. Probably borrowing inspiration or inspiring. I can't remember which came out first, this or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But
this
certainly
came
borrowing
out before Ultimate.
Yeah, certainly borrowing inspiration from Brawl, which placed a lot of emphasis on the rearranging of tracks and having multiple tracks.
Yeah, and Smash 4.
Smash 4, right? I forget about Smash 4.
I know,
Smash
forget 4. It exists, right?
And Super Mario Galaxy, of course, had a big emphasis on the Mario Galaxy Orchestra. We're doing
right.
a Mario
that
game
was
with
one of the big ones where they like moved to this like orchestrated sound.
Yeah, so there are precursors to like Mario Kart 8, but this is really where things like
you can track the evolution for sure, but it really feels like this is where like it all comes together.
Yeah, like a watershed moment. This is the perfection of some ideal they had cooking around.
Yeah, and it's like a huge soundtrack. There's so much on
massive
this. And even like this song kind of has variations, which maybe we'll touch on a bit, but like we're going to talk about like the basic version.
Right. Well, because especially in Mario Kart games, you typically get a sped up version at the very least of the track on the final lap.
End. Or I think in this case, there's an alternate mix called front running. Which I think means if you're like
in first place
kind of thing.
Yes, I have heard of that. I'm not sure what the differences are for this track, but I'm sure you will tell me.
As far as I can tell, and I didn't listen to it really, really intently, closely. As far as I can tell, the drums are loud.
Makes sense to me.
And it's just you just really get this like pulse.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the actual song too.
But first we're going to talk about this liner note from the album for this, which says, "When it came to arranging a song as well-loved as this one, I felt I had no choice but to really go for it. We had the sax and guitar engaged in a kind of duel before a drum solo cuts in, and then added a buzzing bass solo on top of that. The performances on the track really are white hot."
White hot, baby! Yeah. And they are. It's white hot. It rules.
Yeah, this version fucking rocks. We have brass on this. Sure, we've got jazz instruments like the saxophone, but we're really doing the hard rock, like high octane style of play here.
Yeah, and you get the like trade-off between the guitar and the saxophone too, like because there's a very prominent saxophone. As much as like you get that distorted guitar. There's a lot of saxophone here too.
Exactly, and like two instruments that can rip, and then they rip at each other in this sort of dual section.
Yeah,
beautiful,
very cool,
very cool.
But yeah, like you get this like really full sound with the distorted guitar, and like I mean the drums leading in, like everything, it all like works very well.
Yeah, we've got like a hard driving rhythm at the start of this with the guitar doing the big stings. And then those little flourishes being handled by the brass, by the saxophone. So down on your guitar, and then on your rich ass sax.
You're like, oh damn, there's a sax here too, and there certainly is.
Yeah.
And then it kind of takes over for that B section. Very exciting. There's still a guitar, but there's like a rhythm guitar, right? So like it was kind of chugging before.
Yeah, and it's filling out the sides there with a little like some chords and stuff. And you've got that arpeggio synth there still, but yeah, and that's part of what really makes this Mario Kart 8 soundtrack so strong is the way they let these saxophones be fucking like nasty on the track.
Yeah,
you can really feel the force of him blowing into that saxophone.
The force,
you can hear it.
I mean, yeah, the tone
pushing.
Very nice. Do like a good like raspy sax.
Yeah,
there's just something about it. We talk about the saxophone a lot. I have a lot of respect for the sound of a saxophone.
Deep love for a saxophone on this podcast.
what else happens? So the saxophone's playing that, and then into that what you might call the C section, but you might call the same as the B section.
Well, here it's certainly a C section because now we're on that guitar.
Yeah. Yes, because the guitar is now doing it, and it's it's playing fast. It's doing the stuff.
Yeah.
Very nice. So that the exciting part, though, I think, is the D section.
Yes.
Because now is where we get this trade-off between like more direct trade-off between the saxophone.
Yeah,
and the
like
guitar.
call and response structure.
Yeah, because it's still the melody from like the original version, right?
Yeah,
they just trade
100%.
off, but it does have like a call and response feel because it'll be like guitar plays the first line, then the saxophone plays the second part.
Which is also present on the F-Zero-X arrangement of this. So it's not the first time Nintendo's seen this idea, but here it's done with much bigger and cooler instruments.
Yeah. So very cool arrangement, especially like that second, because it's like guitar sax. That second saxophone part with the like,
where he just start that part
wonderful.
Is maybe not from the original, but is him just ripping for the sake of it. It rocks.
Very cool. There's also like some organ. I don't know if that was there before, but you get the like organ sound in the background.
Yeah, we do get organ filling. Yeah.
And then there's a bit more guitar.
Yeah, doing that.
I want to say they join together, but it might be two guitars.
No, that is that sax. You can hear it.
It is.
Good. It is. But
that's good. And then we do something interesting. Okay, so it gets back in. Well, it gets back into an intro first, but it's different. It actually it's kind of a breakdown because this is where we get the organ and it plays the like as like kind of a breakdown. Like we're looping, but it's different.
Yeah, right? It's kind of like a fake down because it's like it's breaking down into a guitar solo.
Exactly. Then the guitar just starts to shred. For that and like tapping, like full on like guitar shredding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then into like a full on solo as the intro kind of continues in the background. Like
we've got that organ. Yeah, that's essentially becomes our intro because we go straight from this into another B section.
Yeah. And like, so that's kind of our loop point. Like, so the loop point's like really late. And then I don't really know how it works because I didn't like take the time to play the game this week.
Right, I should have done that.
So I assume that like that's because part of this, like this is an exciting mix. Absolutely love it. But there's also like it's a dynamic soundtrack, and I'm not sure how much of like if it changes at different points in the level. I didn't go back and double check that. So like the way we're describing it might not be the full experience because it may work differently when you're actually playing.
Right, there may be other sections that come in or out.
Or like they don't like because that maybe if you're not on the last lap, they won't do that second intro with the solo, or they always do that after the first one. I don't know, and that's like how they loop from then on. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I can tell you this: it's a fucking ride. This one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful.
It
wonderful. Really is.
Big, huge, love it. Big fan. It's truly going to be hard to top it this week, and I'm no spoilers, but I don't know if anything does.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be fair and balanced this week, but
I don't know, man. There's only so much you can do. Like, there's so much money behind this one too compared to the other ones.
Yeah,
like they've got some big names.
They got some big names, but we got some little names here in 2017, starting off with Zach Payne.
Zach Payne, who likes science and music.
I believe that, because this is where we take out the rock and roll and go full science. We're just trying to be future spacey with this.
Yeah, it's a lot more like straight up electronic.
And he likes to loop each section when it happens.
Yeah, each section loops multiple times. So instead of playing 4 sections and then 4 sections again, it's like section 1 4 times.
Yeah.
Then section 2 4 times, or however many times.
So yeah, at your bear structure, it's at least like A A B B C C D D instead of A B C D.
Exactly. Which is interesting. In particular, it's interesting. It gets a bit much at times. Notably, the intro is like quite different the first time around. Like it's very slow and ambient.
Slow, ambient, soft, and we're gradually increasing volume, but we could maybe get where we're going a little quicker.
Yeah, it takes quite a while to like get to full, and then we do that for a bit, and then, you know, as it moves, there's like additional like breakup and stuff. It's almost like chopped and screwed, but not really. Like it has a bit of that sound to it, but it's mostly, I think, just from the drums themselves, because they're kind of like and
there is this like buzz sound that comes this like almost dubsteppy, like around 38 seconds. I have a mark of it.
Yeah, I think I have a note on that. It's like a really like harsh sound with almost like glitches in.
Yeah. It's like a sort of glitchy sounding, a little bassy, and it gives you that idea of something being like tampered with, chopped or screwed, but not technically chopped or screwed.
Yeah, glitchy thing. There's to move a little earlier. There's like there's a lot of extra echo on it, which I do think gives it like a cool, mysterious sound. I don't know how effective it is at like a race. That doesn't have to be the context you think of the song in, but that's the original context, and it kind of leaves that behind.
Yeah.
I do think the like do like that part with the echo makes it really sound like Ace Attorney.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's kind of got.
A very
I think the
similar
song is
bass run.
Yeah, like Logic and Trick, I think is the song.
Yeah, one of the
kind of reminds me of that. There might be another song too. I couldn't find it though.
No, I think that's exactly right.
So it has that sound to it.
But yeah, there is a bit of that. Yeah, this is like if you were to put it in an F-Zero game, if they were to introduce, instead of just a slider for your like stats, they were to do like a garage kind of zone where you would put in different parts.
Right, this is between races.
Stats. This could be an in-between races kind of track.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It definitely has like an icy cool vibe. It's definitely focused on the like future aspect, this sort of like cold, harsh-looking environments. Like even the image he's using here is this very metallic track with like just it looks like a pinball, not only a pinball, sorry, but a bowling pin structure there on the right side.
Yeah, I think this is the version of Big Blue from Mario Kart 8, because I don't think we mentioned this before, but the reason the track is in that game is there was like expansion like DLC that added some F-Zero tracks or F-Zero inspired tracks, and it included the music.
Yeah, and I think you're right that those boost pads there that you can see in this shot are
very Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8.
And it's hard to like if you're playing it, you don't realize how much it's like corkscrewing necessarily, because the camera like follows you and the ground is always underneath you.
Right.
But it really does twist and turn a lot. So like if you actually see it from above, it's like, oh wow, like what is that shape?
Yeah, like, and there's like vertical drops and shit that.
Yeah, exactly. But like you just don't know that's happening because you're like the camera, your frame of reference doesn't show that everything is wild. It just twists along with it.
Yeah. So I do note in this version at 119, we start going a little harder. We get a little race energy.
Yeah, that's sort of... That's when it starts to like really break out. Because that intro is quite long, but this is where we...
Yeah, it's a very long intro.
That's where the B section starts too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, basically it takes us as long to get to the B section in this as it takes to do 1 1/3 loops of the original song.
The original is a about 60-second loop, and it takes over a minute to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's quite extended. But yeah, so that happens and repeats a few times as well. And then there's also like the arpeggios are this very like
yeah, very like bubble popping ish,
like popcorn,
like a metallic bubble. Pop pop. Boop, 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 boop.
And this one actually does have some of that like sliding.
Yeah, because there is a sense that this one is just like in a world where we could never get guitars into video games, we just have to enhance the synth, and that's what this one does.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And then like kind of variation on it for, like you said, between races.
Yeah.
It does eventually get into the C section though. This again, to note on the sections, because this repeats that part multiple times, it does treat it as A, B,
it's
C,
very
D.
easy to tell what it treats as distinct sections. And and I do think it's weird that we get C twice in a row.
Because it does feel awkward, right?
Yeah.
It does feel like we shouldn't stretch it out. I don't know if it's just because I'm so used to it, but it does feel like that section maybe should be shorter, even if the other ones are extended.
Yeah, just do that one once, and then it's more of a reward when we get to it, if we do get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I did think that repeating the sections in this way does make it feel like dragged out, you know? There's even times where it's like, do it twice. Don't do it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I could handle that more. It doesn't need to be 4.5 minutes long, or it could be just like play it twice, you know? Like, there's lots of versions that do that.
Yeah, like you can loop it just by having your sequence play twice, like the whole thing. Yeah. Copy and paste it.
And maybe it doesn't need to, but like you could do that.
Yeah, this one overall, I think there are some good tones here. I think, like we've said, there's maybe something to be done with the repetition of segments, how and when it's done.
Yeah.
But I do like this as sort of an offshoot of like the straight synth pathway that this music could go down.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's an interesting sound overall. And yeah, just maybe dragged out a bit in that way.
Maybe, but
right, like because the sections themselves are like perfectly solid.
Mm-hmm.
And it also kind of has a neat thing. Like it doesn't. It's clearly not like thinking of this in terms of being played in a video game. Right. It's more like, let's turn this into like a track to listen to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I say that mostly because, one, kind of the extended repetition, but also the way it structures it goes back into an intro at the end. Like it's sort of like it loops, except it is actually fading out. So it's like reversing the intro more so than repeating it. So that is a cool move. I think that's a good move overall. But yeah, the rest of it is maybe a bit long.
Yeah. Speaking of a bit long, though, another 2017 classic coming up. It's Insane in the Ring.
Insane in the Rain, someone we talked about a few times, or a couple times.
Yes, a couple times. Gwyn, Lord of Cinders,
and Song of Storms. Plin Plin Plon.
Plin Plin Plon, that's
Song
right.
of Storms, a.k.a., and I don't have another name for it.
A.k.a. Plon Plon Plin.
Do-do-do.
So he's a composer and YouTuber obsessed with instruments, apparently.
Yeah, and as featuring artist on this one, his roommate, Sammy.
Sammy, that's the guy on the guitar.
Ducius, I don't really know how to say his name. But yeah, guitar from Sammy.
So we're back in the jazz space like we were in 1992.
We are.
But we decided, what if we go even more excessive with our solos?
Yeah. Excessive. That's definitely, there's more soloing here.
Definitely more soloing.
I liked the solos more on this one, though. Maybe just because it didn't have the... I found the piano solo underwhelming back in the like jazz arrangement album from the 90s. I feel like the solos are a better fit in this version.
I do think that is because we are also jettisoning ourselves further from the original composition in this one. We set up a few elements
like the way
here.
They swing it?
Sure, part of it's at but they swung it in the 92 jazz one too.
True.
We place a lot of emphasis on this rhythm guitar that comes in about 20-ish seconds in. Right. So set up our original. We swing the big beats and set that up so that we know this is Big Blue, and we slowly add fun elements. And I like the rhythm piano. I like these things, but they do take us away from the source material in a way that those things become the backbone of the solo section rather than, say, that swung big beat structure, that bump, ba-na. And so when we're in Solo Town, yeah, the solos sound like they're more in with each other, but we're also so far from being Big Blue that the question is, does it matter?
That's always a good question, isn't it?
I'd say this version is fun. This version has a sense of fun. I feel like they were having fun playing, and it does sound good.
Yeah, I do think, and
I like
didn't go back and look at my old notes, but yeah, I think that's kind of the note I've had about this artist is like they seem like they're having a good time and like doing a fun thing. I thought this was like reasonably successful personally. Like I can see what you mean. Like the solos are a little bit more removed. Because you don't have this, like, it's got its own, like, little, like, almost like Mario invincibility theme rhythm going on in the background, and not, like, Big Blue theme. So it's true. That is, like, different enough that it, like, does feel quite separate. But I do think, yeah, for its own purposes, like, it works well enough, and what they actually play fits better for me.
Yeah, I think it serves itself. I just wonder if it serves Big Blue.
It is a good question. I don't know if it serves Big Blue. This does its own thing for sure.
This does its own thing. And so yeah, they're skilled musicians. I like the general vibe. I just wonder if there's a way to make it bigger/bluer.
Bigger or bluer. Or both.
Or both. Preferably both. In equal parts. But yeah, solid one from insaneintherain. Let's move it forward here because we're somehow pretty long for an episode with no lyrics.
Gosh, we sure are.
We're going right ahead through time. We're moving through time and space from 2017 to 2017.
To 2017, but later in 2017.
Yes, to talk about RichardEB. Featuring ToxicxEternity.
Yeah, who we just talked about last week.
That's right.
Also featured, right? No.
Yeah, he was in Jonathan Young's version of Blue, along with
also
Travis Kart.
Yeah, this is the metal cover. Finally, we have like a straightforward metal cover.
Yeah, and boy, it is straightforward, but I also can't fault him for it because it just sounds great.
It fits, right? Yeah, like it does sound very good. It's also like, I do feel like this is the sort of cover that like we've been hearing for years. If you're like knowledgeable about the scene of like video game music covers, like this is the sort of thing you've probably heard like 10 or 20 of up to now, but like it's a solid version of that. For some reason the band The Proto Men jumps to mind. Do they have a cover of this? I don't even know. I'd
be surprised if they didn't.
It seems like the kind of thing they would do. Those sort of like indie video game cover bands that, do they still exist? I feel like maybe no, but
I think they maybe do.
We saw one time.
We did. I think it was Thwomp we saw.
That was what they were called? Okay.
I believe so.
The thing I remember most about that night is talking about the next day on our way home.
That
because
was probably the more
it had just come out. The David Bowie album the next day.
We Greta and I saw some band performing video game covers like a year ago now.
Okay, so it still exists.
And it was 3 acts. One of them was a Cowboy Bebop cover band called the Cowboy Bebop Band. One of them was like a Studio Ghibli focused like light orchestra, I think.
Oh wow.
Or small big band or something like that. Okay. And then the other was a video game cover band act. So they still exist.
All right, that's good. But this is kind of that, right? It's a like very straightforward cover. Well done though. Simple metal arrangement. You know, you get the heavy chugging guitar, you get the big solos. The solo comes from ToxicxEternity. Yes. He's the guy with the long hair if you're watching the video. I will say, as much as like they're both pretty good, I feel like the skill level difference between them is notable. Like ToxicxEternity looks like he is not even trying. He looks so effortless the whole time compared to Richard. Who seems like he's doing well enough, but like you can see he's trying, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like just watching them in the videos, like, oh damn, this guy's good.
Oh yeah, because I mean, ToxicxEternity has time to bang his head and fucking like not even focus on what he's doing.
Yeah. Whereas like you can see he's just going, and it looks, like I said, effortless. Whereas like Richard's like, I gotta watch my fingers, and it's like,
yeah.
Again, they both do a good job, but you can tell there's a difference.
Yeah, some great tapping from both of them, but yeah. So it's very straightforward. The sounds here are everything you expect, but there is a great level of technical proficiency going on here.
Yeah. So like they do a good job. It sounds good. But I don't really have much else to say about that. I found it a little
ton to say.
Like not necessarily underwhelming, but there's not much interesting to say about it.
Because it is like so expected.
Yeah, it's like this is the obvious thing to do,
mandatory.
And they do it pretty well.
And they do it as well as they can, man. I like it. I don't have I'm not blown away. It's totally decent.
Yeah.
Something a little less in there out there. It's pretty similar to everything we've been talking about. It's 2018's The 8-Bit Big Band.
8-Bit Big Band featuring Grace Kelly, the saxophone player.
Grace Kelly, the saxophone
that I only know about because I was looking up Grace Kelly, the actor.
Yeah, I thought there was a famous Grace Kelly.
Because I was listening to Grace Kelly, the song, and I was like, who's this about? Surely not a saxophone player.
Certainly not. So the 8-Bit Big Band is a full-size jazz/pop orchestra with anywhere from 25 to 65 members, depending on the music they're playing, which is like predominantly New York City musicians as well as just like whoever wants to come on.
Yeah.
Yes.
And led by Charlie Rosen. He puts it together. I think he plays upright bass in this version.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of like his project, and he just hires whoever.
Yeah, he brings whoever
to be in the band. I'm sure there's repeat members. I don't know that much about them. And then this one has like a semi-big name on it playing saxophone, and that does a big solo.
Big solo. So this is kind of like we're somewhere in the space of the Mario Kart 8 version here, but with more emphasis on brass than the guitar. Guitar is technically present. It's very quiet in the mix.
Yeah, it's there for sure. But I mean, big band, really, the big part of a big band is the brass, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we've got like the full fucking set of brass instruments doing the stings. Yeah,
you got your 5, maybe even 6 saxophones, because now we have a like featuring artist. And then of course, trumpets, trombones. Those are kind of the big things. And then you also have your percussion and stuff. Notably, like, let's see, like the D sections where you really get the trade-off between the brass instruments, because it's like sax plays the first part, then trumpet, then trombone, then back to trumpet, then back to sax. So it like kind of bounces back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like it's a big band arrangement, a pretty solid big band arrangement. It's very exciting. They're all very good.
Yeah, and we do get some, I would say, perfectly indulgent solos here from Grace Kelly. I think she fucking flexes, but I do feel it's in line with the song still.
Definitely. It is that there's some really cool like low sections that I wasn't necessarily expecting. So that was cool. Sometimes you don't get the like low stuff, and it's a video, so you can see her like really going on it.
Yeah, with a Captain Falcon helmet on.
With a Captain Falcon, like a pixelated helmet superimposed over her head, which is fun. The weird thing about this, though, solid solo, I feel like she kind of leans away from the mic, and it gets really quiet for the solo for some reason, and then she gets louder after the solo, which is really weird.
Yeah, I'm like watching her do it too, and it is. Yeah, we do miss out when she's really like noodling. Like arpeggiating,
I just like
she pulls
wish
away.
They could have got that mic closer, because it really feels like it loses a bit of impact because it like turns it down. I'm like, could you not like turn that track up or something?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's weird.
Odd.
It's really, really weird, but well done otherwise.
Yeah. And they kind of successfully pull off what the official F-Zero jazz arrangement by Michiko and PeeWee Hill try to do with their piano breakdown.
Because it's like, oh yeah, it's like slowed down.
Yeah.
One note before we get into the piano part,
Sure.
during like partway through the solo, most of the way through the saxophone solo, they do a key change.
Oh,
you can kind of hear it. It's at about 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh yeah, you can hear that she's doing a big like rip upwards on that, and you can hear it on the rhythm instruments. The boom, down, switches up. You're right.
Yeah, so that that makes it a little more exciting too.
Yeah, we're making big jumps here. Things that a big band would do, an orchestra would do. These sort of more dramatic shifts.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of dramatic,
this piano
the slow section, right?
Yes.
Which it does feel like they remembered to. Not only do they do a slower section, but they remembered to like keep it with the sort of like classic story structure we're used to.
Yeah.
So it does feel like that. I mean, what do they call it? I wanted to say total eclipse of the heart, but like there's the term for the like lowest point right before the climax where everything seems like it's going to suck.
Night of the soul kind of
That's
thing.
the one. Yeah, not the total eclipse of the heart.
No, similar but different.
Exactly. That's the term I was looking for.
Yeah, and they really lock into our idea of this being the story of a race, because we see bits of F-Zero graphics over here, and eventually we kind of start telling the story of Captain Falcon versus Samurai Goro, the other racer.
Right. As they are on a breakaway for the finish line kind of thing.
Yeah, so we get some of that in here, and so this moment we like literally visually we're highlighting these two racers' helmets and then their vehicles.
Yeah, and then because right after that piano solo, it breaks into like a final D section, and it's like really big. Everyone's playing, but like the drums at first start with this like slowed down rhythm, like it plays
really
like
hammering
halftime.
Those cymbals,
yeah. So it's really effective in terms of storytelling. This version. And definitely feels a little more inspired than the like 90s jazz version, just because they clearly had that in mind.
Yeah, they're perhaps the only non like Nintendo act today that really locks into the like storytelling idea present in the song. And it pays off well. They're a pretty solid version.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it though, man. We got to talk about our final verdicts, of which there are 3 categories today. Same as it's been all month long. The worst, the best, and the bluest. Alex, what's the worst?
The best, and the bluest. The worst version for me. Let me see. Man, I do feel like. So I was kind of down on 2 of them, but I think I'll give worst. I don't love to do this. Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, maybe there's 3.
Maybe there's 3, Alex.
Okay, so I feel like there's a couple that are like solid, like meat and potatoes covers,
right?
That are like decent, not amazing, but like good enough, straightforward covers. And I don't want to be too down on them. I think I'm gonna give worst to Zach Payne, even though I did kind of like it.
That's fair
for various reasons. It's too repetitive.
Yeah, it unfortunately makes a choice to highlight the repetitive nature of video game music and not to its benefit.
If it had like really, if it was like, okay, I've got these like 4 really excellent remixed versions of this song, and I'm just gonna repeat each one for a couple times, I feel like that would not be so bad, but it doesn't quite get there, you know? Like we were talking about, like the Koji Kondo technique of like, I gotta listen to my own thing for like a week on repeat or whatever, and then I know if I'll be sick of it. So like, I feel like these sections don't pass that test. So like, you can't even listen to it 3 or 4 times in a row before it's like, okay, that's a bit much. If they were stronger, maybe it could have worked. So I do feel like I'm gonna give it to that because it would be a lot stronger if it cut out that repetition, but it didn't. So it gets worst.
That's fair. That's a solid choice. I'm gonna give it to BG Ollie.
Yeah.
And nothing technically wrong with his. It's probably the one I've forgotten the most talking through them. Although I still think he had a pretty good like technical display going on. Like he really translated it to his instruments. He played it pretty well.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I would categorize as like solid meat and potatoes covers.
Yeah.
In that like it does the bass, gets the basics down, it moves it to its own. Like the arrangement's fine. You know, it moves it to other instruments. It doesn't do much exciting other than that, though.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Let's talk best, though. What's the best version this week?
Best version? Man, I mean, we kind of gave this away earlier, but like Mario Kart 8, I don't know how I could give it to anything else.
That's a fucking phenomenal version.
Maybe, yeah. Well, that's it, man. I'm sorry.
That's it. That's fair. You know what? Talking about it, though, I did actually like the 8-bit big band.
Yeah, that was a very successful version as well. And I will also say, like, we keep comparing it to the other jazz version, and that's probably, or not the other jazz version, but like the 90s jazz version.
Yeah.
And that's probably the closest comparison, like you said, like in terms of what they're trying to do, even if it's like maybe not jazz fusion per se, but it also feels a lot like tighter than that one. Like that one at times feels a bit loose, and I felt like maybe they could have done another take, and maybe they didn't have the budget, whereas these guys, like they hit it, man.
Yeah, they lock into the sensibility of the song's like context, understanding that it has like the room for jazz, because they really rip their solo sections too. Like Grace Kelly fucking goes nuts,
but it works, and it's not like too much. But yes,
not too much.
So that probably second place, but also, sorry, Mario Kart 8's very good cover. Very good version of this song.
Yeah, I do think
probably
I
not a cover
to
so much as an arrangement. But
it's if Naoto Ishida wasn't on it, or any of the ones who brought it to life on the Super Nintendo, is it technically a cover at that point?
I mean, enough for us to talk about it.
It's like, exactly. Well, I mean,
we get to make the rules.
We talked about Bruce Springsteen covering Bruce Springsteen songs.
Exactly.
I mean, from like a technical point, I think, because you could say, arguably Nintendo, the entity, created it still. But
I mean, they would love for us to say that, I'm sure.
They would fucking and that's what I don't like about the Nintendo Music app, is that they don't credit the composers.
They don't credit the creators, yeah. It's all like Nintendo.
I would love to know who is making these, because I think, one, they deserve to be credited, and two, it's so interesting to see who, like, and who's making the music and where their career takes them, like what games they've touched on, and what really is their signature style.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting, and then you could like look up the creators individually. I almost wonder if it's a potential legal issue because they don't have some of the specific people credited in the past. So now if they try to go back, they might not get it right, and then someone might try to like sue them or something, which would be a shame.
God, can you imagine? Nintendo doesn't have like lawyers or anything. They're very frightened of courtrooms.
I know, they're very frightened of court proceedings, but they might just not want to worry about it, you know?
I imagine it's too much effort for a big corporation to make. Essentially, even whether legal things are involved or not, pulling out the records and being like, okay, who fucking
all right, who did this?
The
like, we don't really have proof.
For Super Tennis, like,
yeah. Can we really say this is true just because it was written down in like a Nintendo Power article from 1997?
Yeah, like, what's our source on this? I don't know. I just got a feeling. That's the best version, Mario Kart 8. Hard to say no to. But definitely big shout outs to 8-bit Big Band, although I don't like saying their name because I stumble over it every time. Alex, what's the bluest version this week?
The bluest version of them all. Okay, so I don't know why, but Zach Payne feels the most blue.
There's something icy about it, and
There's
icy
blue
leads to
about
blue.
It?
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
No, I'll
this
take it.
This is a real vibes thing, but it's Zach Payne.
Sometimes the blue category this month is a real vibe thing. Zach Payne, great choice. I'm going to go with, just because they were in front of the big blue as we know it, the ocean, RichardEB with ToxicxEternity.
Yeah, all right, I'll take it.
Easy, breezy. That's our final verdict.
That's the biggest blue of all.
The biggest blue we ever knew. That's our final verdicts. If you want to talk to us about, you know, a different opinion, similar opinion, a version we didn't talk about, hit us up on the app Blue Sky, at Snakey, me, at some Alex Wise Guy. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, suggestions for future episodes. This can all be emailed to us as well at covermepod@gmail.com. Talk to us there. Be sure to rate and review us. We're on every single app. We're on your Spotify's. We're on your Apple Podcasts. We're on your Amazon Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Podurama, Podbean, everywhere podcasts are sold. Tell your friends, family, neighbors, and loved ones about us. What you can really do this week to get the word out there is whether it's on the side of your car or like preferably on the side of a racing car, get some Cover Me decals going. Mark up your vehicles so that when you're driving by people, they know about Cover Me podcast. And if you can put a QR code on there, baby, we're in fucking business. That does it for today's episode of Cover Me. And as we always say on Cover Me, there are two kinds of podcasts in this race: Cover Me and the losers.